So we are in the middle of the opening canto of the book of love, the distant meeting place. Last time we met a few creatures, a white crane, peacock, parrot, and dove, and of course the far-winged wild drakes. And in that surrounding, at the foothill of the mountains, aspiring to heaven, earth couched alone with her great lover, heaven, uncovered to her consort's purple eye. That is the image of the earth under the blue sky, clear blue sky. Earth and heaven, they are the lovers. Separated away, perhaps permanently, but they had to come together. They have to come together. Now, earth and heaven is a very common kind of a description in the Rig Veda. It is very often presented as something complementing something. Earth, the material creation. Heaven, the spiritual possibilities. It is their coming together is what is generally indicated in the Vedic phrase. The Vedic phrase is Java Prithvi. Prithvi stands for earth, Prithvi. Java, that is heaven. Java Prithvi. Now, Java is a very common word. In the sense, Java, its root, common things are Divya, Deepta, Devi, Deva. See, all of them are godly phrases. Even Dio, the Latin Dio, D-A-U, or English Dio, they have got the same root basically. So, Java, Prithvi. Prithvi is the earth. Now, Prithvi or the earth in Sanskrit is represented by different words. Prithvi is one word for earth. Bhumi is another word for earth. Now, each description of earth as Prithvi and as Bhumi has its own connotations. Bhumi comes from the word bhu, vast, who expands, who grows. And the eternal, Brahma himself, is sometimes described as Bhuma, Bhuma, the male Bhuma, who expands, who grows. Grows in terms of manifestation. That is the idea of the word Bhuma, who expands in manifestation, who grows constantly. And the feminine of that is Bhumi. Bhumi stands for that, you see. Therefore, she is the one who has the potentialities of growth, of expansion, of progress, of development, of, you might even call, evolution. Although the word evolution is not explicitly used in the Vedic terminology, but one could kind of link it up with evolution, Bhumi. Prithvi has the aspect of a certain kind of a solidity, denseness, firmness in it. And in the description of the 5 elements, we have the 5 subtle elements: Akash, Vayu, Agni, Apa, that is Apa, and then Prithvi. So it is Akash, that is sky, ether, then Vayu, the air, that is the second element. The third element is fire, the mystic fire, Tejasa or Agni. The fourth is water, Jala, as you would call it, you see. And the fifth is Prithvi. So in the material creation of what is occurred in spiritual, when it becomes material, the gradation starts from the sky down below to the earth. The spiritual, so to say, is there, and the solid material is here. So Prithvi stands for the base, for the support, for all that kind of an activity which gives a kind of firmness to things, you see, Prithvi. So it is in that sense, Prithvi as the material base, earth as the material base, heaven as luminous spiritual possibilities, they are seeing each other. That is what the line would mean. Earth couched alone with her great lover, heaven. Obviously, you see. Now here that could be a kind of a metaphysical description of what I was saying, but this is a poetic way of saying the same thing, and very pertinently in the context of the book of love, you have the description of earth sitting is under the gaze of her lover, heaven. So the connection of the book of love and earth and heaven as lover and beloved is that way very appropriate, you see, in that sense, you see. Earth couched alone with her great lover, heaven. Alone, that would of course mean that there are no other beings. There are no gods, there are no titans, there are no hostile forces, there are no celestial forces, not even man perhaps. She is alone, and she is the beloved of her lover, which is heaven. Uncovered to her consort's purple eye, she is completely open to him. His purple eye of majesty, of royalty, purple. That is what it stands for, royalty, purple. To his purple eye, she is keeping herself totally open, exposed. So it is, in that sense, very appropriate also, metaphorically, that it is the coming together of Satyavan and Savitri. In that sense also, see, earth couched alone with her great lover, heaven, uncovered to her consort's purple eye, in her luxurious ecstasy of joy. Now, you see, you have to, while reading this poetry, you have to see the other connotation also. There is a geographical picture also. Here, the meeting place, the destined meeting place, is a lonely place. It is isolated from busy civilization. It is completely cut off from all kind of urban activities in that sense. And therefore, earth and heaven, they are there alone, sky and earth. And obviously, in that luxurious ecstasy of joy, luxurious richness of mountain, trees, found rivers, found brooks, birds, animals, everything is there. So in that sense, there is a kind of richness of nature there. And she is joyous about it, the ecstasy of joy. Now, see, this is a very beautiful phrase, ecstasy of joy. They are basically same, ecstasy and joy, but ecstasy is of a different kind. It could be ecstasy of joy, it could be ecstasy of delight, it could be ecstasy of bliss, it could be ecstasy of happiness, it could be ecstasy of knowledge, ecstasy of love. All those things are there, but this is an ecstasy, is kind of an absorption into that quality. That is what the ecstasy would mean, you see. Ecstasy of joy. She squandered the love music of her notes, obviously. The picture of love is there again all through, squandered very freely. It's luxurious, so she doesn't mind. And purple joy, purple richness is there everywhere. The richness is there. So richness of notes is also there. Squandered the love music of a note. Love music, the wind rustling to the woods, the rivers making gurgling sounds, the murmur of the stream, the stealthy prowl of the animals, the birds singing. So these are the notes of the music in that place. And she is happy in the company of all these natural creatures. Wasted the passionate pattern of her blooms and festival riot of her scents and hues. So that is the richness of the place. So there are all kinds of flowers, all kinds of fragrances are there. The richness of nature is what is indicated there. So, well, this is very appropriate. It is going to be the description of a royal marriage, a celestial marriage, and therefore it has to be rich in every respect from that angle. The wasted, the passionate pattern of her blooms, flowers of all kinds, on the trees, on the shrubs, on the grasses, small plants everywhere. A cry and leap and hurry were around, the stealthy footfalls of a chasing thing, the shaggy emerald of a centaur mane, the gold and sapphire of her warmth and blaze. That is nature, that is earth, the primeval earth, the original earth. Cry and leap and hurry. See how leisurely he keeps on describing all these small details. And see the metrical also, this line is a perfect iambic line. A cry and leap and hurry was around. So that is how the metrical beat goes on, you see. The stealthy footfalls of a chasing thing, chasing beasts of prey, tigers, lions, all kinds of animals are there, and they're chasing them around, chasing things in the place. The shaggy emerald of a centaur mane. Now this is a totally different kind of description. It is drawn from the Greek mythology, centaur and shaggy, full of hair going. In other words, the forest rich with leaves and branches and grasslands, they are forming a shaggy mane of a horse, centaur. Centaur, of course, you know, the body of a horse and the head of man or woman. Centaur can be man or woman also, centaur. And generally, these creatures, I got a few slides, you'll see them afterwards. Some of the centaurs which are there on the web, you can see them afterwards. Now, emerald, of course, that is the color of the forest, green, deep green, mane, and the gold and sapphire of a warm and blaze. So suddenly something shining beautifully yellow, something deep blue, full of warmth, and of course blaze. Magician of her rapt felicities, blithe, sensuous-hearted, careless and divine. Now again, here says sensuous-hearted. It has again the echo, or there is a kind of mutual echo between the sensuousness which is described here and the centaur. Centaurs are supposed to be very sensuous. They take joy in all kind of ludicrous things. Yeah, 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 sensuous. They are, see, except one particular centaur, Chiron. He is the one who is noble and forthright, and he is the one who will help man very truly also. And it is said that he is the only immortal among the centaurs, Chiron. All the others, they are not, you see. And there is, in fact, in the Greek mythology, a whole description of the fight against the centaurs. Centaur Maki killing the centaurs, you like that. And they were destroyed because of their havoc they were doing to the creation, you see. So, in fact, sometimes I read a reference where an English poet thinks that the Greek centaurs are the Indian Gandharvas. Indian Gandharvas. Well, I will not go with that. Gandharvas are not mixed creatures with the horse and man like that, you see. Gandharvas are Gandharvas. But, yeah, that's right. But Gandharvas have very long hair, remained there, and they got long manes also, and they are great musicians. Centaurs are also musicians. They sing very sweetly, very beautifully, you see. Centaurs do sing. Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, they do sing very beautifully. Now, that is the sensuousness of these centaurs. Gandharvas, Apsaras, as we have got in English, in the Indian mythology, they are sensuous creatures, beings, you see. So we have got therefore that connotation there. Blitheness, sensuousness is a combination of that whole nature in its primeval joy, you see. Ecstasy or joy is of that kind also, you see. Now, centaurs, Greek mythology is very clear about that thing, this mixed creature. But actually, this mixed creature, this mixed mythology, half this, half animal, half man, etc., that kind of thing, is very repulsive to the modern mind. We cannot even rationalize that thing. So I read one description, which is very rational, so to say. What is said is that when the Greek people in the early stages, they perhaps did not know a horse, they did not see a horse in the very early stages. When the Arabian horses were riding through the grasses and the riders would go through the grasses, this Greek would see a very strange picture there. They would see a horse and a man standing in front of it. Like that. Human being. So horse is riding and a man. Yeah. So from a distance, what they will see is the body of a horse and the head of a man. And that is what they say is the Greek centaur. Rationalized fully, you see. Well, I mean, this is the trouble with the rational mind. In fact, the same thing happens in the case of Indian descriptions also. See, for instance, now it is unimaginable for the modern mind to think that Rama had his army made of vanaras, monkeys. How can that be? Man and human, how can they be? And doing battle and all that kind of a thing. So, one of the rationalists, a Marathi rationalist, he has offered an explanation for that. He said that in those days, they must have had a weapon which was tied around their waist and which had a kind of a long tail, that weapon. So that you use as a whip or whatever it is, you see. And, and that became the monkey, the vanara, you see that time. You see. So that is how we try to rationalize and things. And therefore, when the Ramayana, there is a description of Hanuman, Maruti, the longest tail. He was uh, ravaging Lanka. His tail was burned, and he was going from house to house and setting fire to all the places there in the town there. See, so how can a person, a living being, still withstand the burning tail there? That was the dilemma. The tail is burning, and then still he is merely sort of going around and then setting fire to all the places. How can it be? Then the explanation came. Look, perhaps he was tying something around his waist, long enough, and that was set to fire, and then he went around. It's all right. One can please oneself with those explanations, you see. But we don't realize that there were different types of beings in different epochs. What is called in the Indian tradition Manvantaras. Manvantaras. So these were beings which belonged to a past Manvantara. Manaras and all that thing. So partly you can say that the story of Mahabharata, the story of Ramayana is a sort of a transition from one age, from one epoch to another epoch where it is coming here, which is very pertinent, which is very understandable also if you really go by some kind of an author's sense which is there behind it. See, the tradition of the avatars is very clear about the position of Rama. He is the mental being who has come in the process of evolution. The descent of mind in matter, that is the avatarhood of Rama. That is a transition from animal to man, mental. It is coming from one Manvantara to another Manvantara, another age like that. And we should also see that these people, these poets, they were narrating the story simultaneously at different planes. On the physical plane, in the occult plane, and in the spiritual plane. They didn't have any inhibition of bringing all these things together. They understood what they were saying. We kind of go in a very stringent manner along one particular line, rational, 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 but they were simultaneously moving on different planes to a very, very large extent. Savitri is like that. It is not only on the physical plane here, it is simultaneously moving in the occult world also. So when he is talking of earth and heaven, he is also describing something happening in other context elsewhere. Although the broad rationale of the story is as we would understand at the human level, and it can be read that way. But the basic thing is the story is moving simultaneously on 3 or 4 different planes, and Ramayana is like that. I will give an example which is very significant in the Ramayana itself, which is very important also. How the poet utilizes certain occasions for describing certain capacities of a person doing a certain thing. See, the episode is something like this. In the Ramayana, Sita has been abducted by Ravana. He has carried her away to Lanka, Sita. And now, Rama is in quest of her to find where she is. She has dropped her anklets and jewelry on the way and shows, so to say, well, it is in this direction that I am being taken away. So it is to the south, not here, there. So that much at least is indication. So if he has to find, he has to find in the south. So while he is coming down towards the south,